Hello. Hey, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for coming out on this beautiful Friday evening in Los Angeles. It's wonderful to see you all. I'm just going to start. My name is David Carpenter. I am the creator and executive producer of Dungeons & Dragons, the 20-Sided Tavern. Thank you. I will also be the moderator of this lovely panel today. I always ask this question up front whenever we do panels. Has anyone here seen the 20-Sided Tavern? You guys in the back there. So you're all new to it. None of you have seen this before, right? And are you all, is this a local LA audience? Right? All right.
That's basically the same thing.
So you know it's coming here at starting Thanksgiving week. Okay, great. Okay, so we already got that. All right. So here's what we're going to do today. We're going to do a panel discussion just about the 20-Sided Tavern, how it happened, and our roles that we played into it. And then we're going to do a Q&A. So you guys will be able to ask some questions from the audience about the show or ask anything of any of us up here. So real quick right now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play our trailer from TST, so we're going to do that. I have to do a little switcheroo on my laptop. Hold on one second, and here we go.
Now, Carp, I noticed I didn't see a lot of myself in that.
Oh, wow.
Can we get some edits?
All right, but
Never.
Real quick, before we dive into this, we have two special guests who are joining us today on the panel. Are you ready to come out? I am so excited they're joining us today. It's going to be Newbon and Devora Wilde. Hello. They just kind of wandered in from off the street. We're like, you know. I did.
Why? Why are we here?
Sit down. We only have 50 minutes.
Hi. Because of me.
Okay, so the big question is like, what is the 20-Sided Tavern? And I ask that question a lot. So I'm actually...
We were told there were snacks.
What?
We were told there were snacks.
You want snacks?
Well, they're on. Okay, it's fine.
Sorry,
Carry on,
yeah,
carry on.
okay,
Sorry,
okay,
David.
okay.
Sorry, David.
So I'm gonna start. Let's start with you, lovely women in the middle here. What is the 20-Sided Tavern?
Neil took my mic.
The 20-Sided Tavern is a live improvised show that lives at the intersection of Dungeons & Dragons, improvised theater, and mobile gaming because there's a beautiful platform that David created called
We'll talk about that
Gamiotics
later.
that helps the audience be a part of the action and literally shape the story that we are going to tell on stage.
Unfortunately, you did a really good and concise job of explaining that, so I'm only going to add things that make it more confusing. It is all the fun of improvised and collaborative storytelling, but the audience gets to be involved in a way that never really happens in other kinds of actual play. You guys can watch it. We all get to like sit and watch it on Twitch, but when you're in the theater, you're a part of the story. You yell, you add things via like the mobile app, and we all tell a story that will never exist again because it's just us together.
So before we go any further, now that we kind of put a baseline is, everybody on this panel has worked on or been in the 20-Sided Tavern. So let's do a quick round of introductions. Like I said, I'm David Carpenter. I'm the executive producer and the creator of 20-Sided Tavern. As mentioned, I also own a software company called Gamiotics, which does real-time audience engagement. That helps power the experience to allow the audience to play along with us.
Hi, I'm KC. I designed the set, props, and the costumes for the show.
This is like sets, props, and costumes. Like a crazily multi-talented person
Thank you.
who's delivered something absolutely gorgeous
That's
on
all
stage.
I did. nothing else.
That's impressive enough. Hi, I'm Anjali Bhimani, and I have had the joy of guesting in the 20-Sided Tavern off-Broadway and on the tour in the role of Mischief, which is really fun.
Apologies. Hi, I'm Aabria Iyengar. I have guested a couple times, both in New York and on the tour. I originated as what was once, we'll call it Blue for now, currently Might, but I've also been Mischief and a Dungeon Master. A mistake they will never repeat. Did you know in theater you have to hit the timeline? But I come from Critical Role, where any episode of D&D can last 2 to 96 hours, and theaters get really mad about that.
Hello, I'm Neil Newbon. Hello. Hi, thank you very much. So I had the joy of doing the New York run this year, playing mainly the Wizard, the Blue run, which is fun.
Spellcaster, it's now called. We kept changing the names.
Okay, so Spellcaster now, which is really fun.
It's now called
Magic.
Magic, sorry.
Magic.
Even I forget.
I had a real hoot. And we talked about our announcement coming, all that
No.
stuff?
End of the thing.
Oh, thing, okay. I have nothing to do with the show whatsoever. I'm just here because David and I are friends, that's it.
Yeah, me too. Nothing. We're just here. Completely.
Just hanging out.
Just hanging out.
Just hanging out.
I'm Devora Wilde, and I also did Blue. I don't like calling it Blue. I did the magic. Magic. I did the magic, which obviously I don't usually play, but I did then, and it was fun. I had a real good time, and I'm just here on a whim.
Yeah.
So the setup of the show is that we are playing a D&D game live on stage, right? But we've invited the audience to play with us. Now, this is a theater show. It takes place on stage, so there are certain conventions that we have to adopt to. Like, it can't be like a D&D game that you play at home that could go on for hours or weeks or years, right? We got to get it done in 2.5 hours, or when Aabria's on stage, as close to 2.5 hours as we could possibly get. Sometimes 3. One
time I made everybody in the audience swear allegiance to the King of England.
Oh, I do remember that. Yeah,
that worked out really well. Yeah. You're all welcome if you want. We've got room.
Part of the convention of the show is that there's 5 on stage. We have a dungeon master, a tavern keeper who's our rules lawyer, and then we have 3 players in various colors and names that have changed a lot over the last couple of years. But red, green, and blue. So Might, Magic, and Mischief is what I think they're called now. Hasbro made us change them a couple of times. So what happens at the top of the show is we let the audience choose which character our players are going to play last night. And they got 3 choices that the audience can choose from. So we assemble a party together every night on stage, and then they go off on a 2.5-hour one-shot. Now, the one-shot is always the same adventure, right? Because it has to kind of be the same general idea. But it can go in a lot of different places, and the players, it's a new party every night that they have to come up with the premise of what is happening between that group that they're going to go on this backstory that they're going to go on this adventure with, right? So what I'd love to know is what it's like for the 4 of you, because Casey, and then Casey for the design the costumes for it, about what it's like to step into the theater every night not knowing what character you're going to play. And also, we have 19 playable characters, so some of the favorite characters, some of the characters that you like playing and why.
Oh yeah, I think it's the best part of theater, really. Theatre's always that wonderful element of you know the structure of what you think you're going to do, and it all goes to hell anyway, in the best possible way, because it's improvised comedy. There is a kind of structure, obviously, that we help start it, but every night's unique. And as Aabria said earlier, this is the one time you'll see that particular story. And I think that's the most exciting thing about not just theatre, but also about this show, is that nobody's ever going to see the same show twice.
Oh, and it goes in some really quite random directions. It's quite magical, actually. Just thinking about the different storylines, because we kind of have a little huddle, don't we, before we start? And we're okay, we think this is what this is our starting point, right? It is right before we go on stage. By the end, I mean, God, it's really quite wild. It's quite wild. I think as an actor, it's the absolute best thing you can do, to push yourself, but also to have that joy, because it's just every night is different. And I love that. And I love just being a fool on stage.
Truly.
It's my favorite thing.
Yeah, there's something really fun, especially having been both the DM, which is the person that's sort of sitting, keeping the story on rails. Though you've said it's the same adventure, if any of you have seen like deeply complex flowcharts, the twine of the base story has so many permutations through it. Like, learning to be the DM was by far the hardest part. I've done a ton of improv, so getting up there and going like, oh, we're these 3 characters tonight. Let's figure out like a fun little like through line. That feels like a second nature. But to sit there and go like, based on the votes, based on what's happening, but in the like communication between the audience and the stage, here's how the story's gonna go. It's so granular and it changes so much. You can go multiple nights in a row and you will see wildly different things from the scripting, let alone what the choices you're making on stage as an actor. I love all of the like magic characters, except I found out recently that there's a character in the like magic track that Neil gets to play that I wasn't gonna play, and I finally saw your kit as Leighton, and I threw a hissy fit on stage because he had all the good spells. I was like, wait, let me be the boy dragon!
Leighton, go tiger!
I was so mad. It's so good. He has all the good stuff.
Oh, he's great.
I also find that this particular structure and this particular amalgam of the two things of improv and Dungeons and Dragons is really freeing as an actor, because yes, you don't know what's happening you don't know what's happening when you get on stage, but you also don't know what's happening when you come in as an audience member. So you actually are getting the chance to watch your friends and appreciate their virtuosity at the same time as you're creating something new with them. And you don't have to memorize anything. You're the writer's room at the same time as you are the actors. So it's really, really freeing and empowering in that way. And some of the stories we've told, I'm really proud of some of the stories that we've told and some of the really organic moments that we've had that wouldn't necessarily have happened had we not had that really, wild way of putting the show together. Yeah.
Sorry, I just had an urge.
We are all, I know. You wrangle us. You can't stop us.
Can't
never stop.
No, you're doing great. So,
this is chaos personified here.
It's literally the worst possible combination.
You also put
so many other people
three
you could force
magic
out.
players in line, so I don't know.
So to be clear, there it's a blend of it's long form sketch, like scripted long form sketch comedy and improvisation, right? That we put on stage together. One of the things that because the show has evolved a lot over the last I've been working on it for 4 years, but specifically in the last 18 months. What we've discovered is that we're somewhere in the middle between a TTRPG and an improv show, basically. And the role, and one of the things that they were referring to is that their job is to create a story arc, create character arcs on stage every night, right? So they're going to come every single night. They have to come on stage, and by the end of the show, they have to wrap up in a short. Brief moment, especially if everybody is DMing, that...
Hey, rude. I only went over every time.
Every single time.
Every time.
They have to bring the story home, right?
And so they're
constantly working on stage.
You're stupid.
So we're going to go to KC for a second, and we're going to talk about what it's like to design something like this. And I would love for you to start with what your background is.
Oh, yes. I have a little bit of experience with designing for D&D Improv. I'm also the art director of Dimension 20, which is really fun.
Shout out to Dimension 20.
And that definitely helped this a lot. I try to, from the costume side, think of it from a perspective of play. Like, I'm just giving you guys toys, really. So with every costume, I try to think, like, what is the one thing the actor would have a field day with? So, like, for Ethel, did anyone here play Ethel? Yeah. That, like, cape, like, the wingspan you get out of it. And like Barry, like the crazy blaster.
Barry, I love playing Barry. Yes. Barry's my favorite right now.
Wonderful.
Ethel's my favorite because she's horny and old, and her outfit allows you. Thank you, my brand. You did such a beautiful job of making her both cozy, but also so covered with like tchotchkes and trinkets that you're like, I'm just this like weird little clattery lady, sort of shambling across the stage, hitting on everything.
She's shambling. Also, shout out to Noah Ruff who made that illustration.
Yeah,
he's amazing. And then from a set perspective, I tried to make the blocking conducive to you guys being together as a group. So previously, we had the players each have like an individual little table, but we changed it to a bench so that you guys could like hug or like jump on it when you got a nat 20 or like, and we reinforced it so you could like really jump on it and have moments because I knew you would want to. So yeah, just trying to create an environment that supports play and improvisation, so you don't have to think about
Hey,
it.
Casey, we're not allowed to jump on it as much anymore.
Oh,
we really
really?
did abuse how much you reinforced it.
Oh, Aabria.
But we had a good time.
Okay, well, it was fun while it lasted.
I'm little and I like to climb things, and now I have to climb the people. Which I'm not mad about. I mean, look at them.
So when we first started talking about the show, one of the things that Casey did so brilliantly in their design was, my instructions to most everybody on stage, this is actors and designers, is saying your job is actually to create opportunity for the players, because they have to go out and create a story every night. So anything that you can do to allow them to have an opportunity to do something unexpected is going to be a successful part of the design, right? So part of it with Casey was like, put a lot of stuff on stage that makes
Give them
sense.
stuff.
Right?
Give them stuff.
Give them things.
I gotta say, I'm so grateful for the specific things that you chose to put on that stage, because they are so inspiring. They do end up being the things that catalyze different ideas so often.
Right. I was like, actors will like a golf club. They'll do something with this.
Yeah, it's just like, sorry, Aabria, but my reflexes are faster than yours. Yeah, I remember the first time we did it, I realized it was like when you're 6 years old, if you were lucky enough to have like a random trunk of shit.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? I don't know if your parents did that or not. My parents they didn't want to deal with us. They just gave us a trunk of shit. Yeah.
No,
which we would
that's real.
No, it's real. That we
That
would then
sounds
make
gross.
games out of. And so having this wonderful trunk that was handpicked by you to play with at any opportunity was just more fuel. It was
And
amazing.
the wigs!
Yeah, it was great.
And
the
the
wigs!
wigs.
The wigs are
Lots of wigs.
amazing!
The wigs were
Well,
great.
because
Hold on, I want to answer.
Oh, yeah, go for
I
it.
want to
Yes, your
compliment
turn.
Casey. One of my first shows, I remember we ended up doing it made sense on the day, so don't worry about how I explain it. One of us gave birth to a tapeworm. And then we were able to construct a tapeworm improvised puppet that was sitting behind the big decider D20 and had a whole puppetry moment because we had a box of shit that allowed us to
Hell yeah.
build the
Awesome.
thing we wanted as we were describing it. There's this really fun thing that happens on stage sometimes where you start pitching something and you can see someone pop up and go I know a thing on stage for this, and you're I'm going to explain it longer and slower until the item arrives, and now you can have these moments where there is a
Right,
prop
right.
for it. And
Yeah.
it's so cool that you have built the stage to be that fun.
I'm happy it worked out. That's awesome.
So one of the ideas that was behind the show that I think everybody's kind of referencing to is when we were approaching it originally was if we wanted to play a D&D game around our table, what would we grab from our house, right, in order to create this environment, and then how do we turn that into a show? And that, of course, is what they all do on stage. They're all grabbing things around from the environment as if we were playing a D&D game at home, but instead, we are putting on a show. So there's one thing I do have to shout out right now, which is the show is currently finishing up a 7-week run in Chicago right now, right? Yes, it's gone great. We've been having a blast there. We're ready to continue on and get out of Chicago. So the actors, there are 9 actors in our touring company who are with the show permanently. Unfortunately, none of them could be here with us today because they're all in Chicago putting the show on right now. So what we...
By the way, as a guest, the most welcoming and awesomely
I was getting there.
talented cast.
You jumped ahead of me, right?
Yeah,
So I want to
so
talk
good.
about, because that's what I want you guys to talk about, which is I have a company of 9 core actors that have been with the show, some for years through the development process, but they were all with us off Broadway before we went on tour. One of the things that we did is that we built it in a way that to allow other people and friends of ours within the D&D community and with the TTRPG community to jump into the show. I would love for each of you to talk about what that process was like. And Neil, you can start. You already started it being in terms of jumping into an existing company.
I jumped into the question.
Yeah, just jump right into the question.
Thanks, David. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I've worked a lot, many years, all over the world. They're one of the most welcoming ensembles. They're super supportive. They're incredibly quick and very, very funny. But also the spirit of them is just joy. They're just a joyous bunch of people. And to be able to come in as a guest, completely fresh, not even knowing this, getting to know the structure on the first day rehearsals, to be swept up in the enthusiasm they still have, even after all these years, is a really wonderful, beautiful experience because it's supposed to be fun. Like what we do as a living is ridiculous, really. And if we get to work, it's supposed to be fun.
Yes,
and
I
joyous.
agree.
Yeah, right. So yeah, they're an amazing bunch of kids. They really are, and they're just so talented because they're just so funny and fast. So the effort of keeping up with them, I thought was thrilling because I think I'm pretty quick. These cats are really quick, so it was really nice to keep up with them. Yeah,
They're also 90% of the reason why we're funny.
Yeah, literally that.
Honestly, like they really they support you and they build you up and they make sure that you guys as an audience have an amazing experience and us as the guests have an amazing experience because they are there. They are the foundation of this show. They are so professional. They are unlike any actors I've worked with in the UK. I think I said that to them when I was there. I was like, you guys are on another level, like professionalism wise and just comedic timing, everything. They're just incredible. Really.
Apologies to the entirety of the UK theatre community.
Apologies to them, but also not apologies because these guys are bloody awesome and I love them dearly.
Okay. That was very nice.
Thank
that
you,
was
Deborah.
very nice. You get tepid applause for complimenting the cast. It was very fun coming in near the beginning. Felicia edged me out for the first guest by...
Our very first guest was Felicia Day.
Yeah, and she was incredible. So
well, I called her the guinea pig because like I invited her to come in and do the show, and I was like, we have no idea what we're doing. Good luck. that was her rehearsal process.
I loved that because I think Felicia and I have a thing of like, who's going to be the guinea pig for a new thing? And I was like, oh, it's you this time? Great. You let me know. And I remember the first time, like Erica and I went and rehearsed at the same time. And we went and watched one of Felicia's shows and she like came in backstage and we were like doing our little like guest huddle in the corner. And she was like, whatever you're worried about, don't be. These guys are going to be so nice and so funny. And you're like, great, we're in the theater. You have to be nice about them. I don't trust that yet. I think it took me 3 days before I was like, oh, this is a group of friends that I didn't know I was missing until I got a week into this. There's a reason I keep going back. My first run was 2 weeks. I've done a month and another 2 weeks, and then whenever I'm in town, dropping in since then. That's not a thing you do unless you have connected with a group of people in a way that makes you go like, oh, these aren't just friends. These are people that you want to have community with and build art with. I love all of them so much. And every time I get to be on stage with them, or even just like hanging out behind the scenes, like hanging out in the soft room, is just so quick and so fun and so funny. And they really do a good job of making sure you feel supported on stage. Because like the scariest thing as a guest is you're like, hi, I'm a dumb little baby that didn't study the 3 lines we have at the beginning of the show. You have to, you have to carry me. And they make it feel effortless and it's so easy for you to fall into rhythm with them that it feels like you've been with a like improv troupe that you've been rehearsing with for months.
Every single thing that they all said, and also the entertainment industry is often built in a way that makes people feel like they are on the outside, even when they are heavily involved in the entertainment industry in any medium. The level of the feeling of belonging that is created by this cast for every single person who walks into the theater, not just us as guests, but every audience member, the people out front, the ushers, everybody. They are so generous with their spirits, this cast, and so prepared. They said to me so many times, you don't have to worry about it, we got you. You don't have to worry about it, we got you. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna do my job. But they're like, yeah, but you don't have to worry about it, we got you. And they're that way off stage, they're that way all the time. It's alien. It's so beautiful and it's so rare. And like Aabria said, it's why we all keep coming back because we just want to feel like we belong.
So I've worked in New York theater for almost 25 years now, and I've been a Broadway and off-Broadway producer, and I left to go do this because part of what you're hearing is actually because of the community that I found within D&D and within gaming that I found very loving and embracing that we wanted to be able to carry forward into the experience that we were creating, right? So we created, everyone's switching around. So we created a I created a show and I created a company that was based on the community that we all loved and created a sense of community. And I say, it's like, this is what I want. This is who I want us to be. And this cast, and then subsequently all of our guests have come in and said, hey, really does feel like a sense of community here in terms of what we're doing. And that is then reflected for the audience. So one of my favorite things is that we had a super fan who saw the show 74 times in New York, right? Yeah, right? And then last weekend I was in Chicago checking in on the cast, and I ran into him because he was there to see this 75th, 76th, 77th, and 78th time of seeing the show. Because it is just a place for him, right? It is never the same show twice. It is statistically, there's something like 300,000 mathematical possibilities of what the show could be every night. And I think, as you all could say, like, it just can't be the same show at any given night. So we find...
We try.
Yeah,
I would love to phone it in. Just collect a check.
We get a lot of repeat viewers and people coming back and seeing the show again. So it kind of leads me to my next question, which is, for all of you, it's kind of two things. You two have had an experience that you two have not had, which is you've done New York and the tour, right? And I'd love to know the differences so far, right, that you guys have experienced, if any, on that. And then I would love to know what are some of your biggest fan or funniest moments that you've had in doing the show.
I'm gonna go really fast and go first. Biggest difference is there was a minor change to the beginning of the show. Remember, there's 3 lines you have to remember at the top of the show. They did, in fact, change those 3 lines, but no one sent me a text before I got there.
Someone sent you a text.
I've never checked a text. I refuse to believe this was my fault. I did get out there and I was like, did lines change? And they were like, yeah. So I was like, oh, that's gonna be fun. I don't know what I'm doing. And there was a really cute back and forth of like, okay, it's only a couple words different. Like, here's what you do. The blocking, it changed slightly. So I just had a buddy, and I believe it was Diego, who was playing Might, who would just grab my hand and walk me to my new blocking. And the first couple nights, again, because it's like the audience is right there, and we all know, like, hi, it's my first night, and I forgot where to stand, and everyone can kind of tell that I'm in a different spot because this is not the way it was in the New York theater. It became like the in-joke as the group, as I was like getting up to speed. So there's something really fun about the fact that it's live theater and we're all here experiencing something together. And if you see something a little off, you're like, we can call it out and talk about it because we're here right now and it's not a polished final product like Dimension 20 is or CR is. So I think that was like my favorite little like getting up to speed for the tour difference. And my favorite fan interaction, I remember we ended up like celebrating, I think it was like the 250th show in New York backstage and didn't do, it was bad weather. And we didn't do the like stage door after. But as we were turning and leaving, I was like, I only know one way back to my hotel. So I must walk back in front of the theater. Because if I take 1 second side street, I'll never get home. And people had stayed out like an hour in like terrible inclement weather. We were there till midnight, I think, just chopping it up about the show and the difference between like when guests aren't there, because it was a bunch of super fans who were like, it's different when you're there. It's a little less focused, and you're like, well, thanks for saying that to my face. But then just talking about D&D in general and hearing about each other's campaigns, and I remember sending a text to like the cast group chat where I was like, hey guys, it's midnight and I'm just leaving now. I might be a little bit late to rehearsal tomorrow. But everyone was super nice about it. I've never met a fan of the Tavern that wasn't like the sweetest, most welcoming person to sit and chop it up with for a couple minutes.
My favorite thing so far about being on tour is because we do make this show new every night and it's based on suggestions from the audience and also things that just come out of our own crazy heads, we're able to sort of tailor make some of the things for each city. And since we started in Chicago, which is one of my homes away from home, like every night when we got to work in Lou Malnati's pizza or Portillo's hot dogs or Harry Carey or any of those things. But point being, like being able to create things that were so specific for the audience that they were able to connect with, that they knew that they had ownership over this show as well. That's a really special thing. And knowing that every town that we go to, every town that the show goes to is going to have that experience. They're going to be like, oh, this show is legitimately for us. no matter how big or how small the place is, they know that they have ownership over this story. And I think that's a really, really, really special thing.
Well, it's something that I was really excited for the tour, which is to make it local, right? There's no reason why we can't make our experience for the audience that's there. Again, it's one of the things about having worked in American theater for so long is saying, why can't we change it? Why can't we make this part of the community that we're in? Let's make sure that we do that. And that's one of the instructions I have to the cast of being like, take every opportunity to like talk to the audience and figure out like what they care about in their local community and weave it into the show somehow. So.
Oh yeah, we have to talk. I forgot. I was lost in it. Yeah, I got loads of good memories from doing the run. I especially like the time. The great thing about the show is because a lot of it is down to the dice rolls, which is random chance. Wow, this person's changed. That's really crazy. Was that always the same person? Okay, all right. I thought jet lag has me, and for a second I thought the wonderful sign interpreter was a woman or female presenting. Great, I'm not going mad. It's not jet lag. Good, thank you. Sorry, sir. Thank you very much. Carry on, please. Wow, that was wild. Sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry. Yeah, because the random chance, like the best moments I remember were when you kind of needed that nat 20. Everything was pushing towards it, and the story was like gathering speed. And the only way that this would be perfect if you got the nat 20 and you'd roll a nat 20, and it would just be berserk and amazing. So lots of instances of that actually happening, because it's all like done in front of you. There's no tricks. It's just random happen chance. I especially like turning into Christopher Lloyd. That was really fun. Oh yeah. So we had wigs on, and then suddenly I had to change my accent because we have this chaos dice, the chaos thing, and that's another thing which completely screws.
Oh my God,
with
the chaos dice.
Yeah,
Forgot
right.
about that.
It's that thing of like everybody has a plan until you get hit, right?
Yeah.
And the chaos dice just fucks everything that you're doing at that point. And it just worked in our favor because I had this white wig on and I had to change my accent. It was like, great. Marty, something's happened with the dice. You gotta get like that. And it was just perfect because it was just made it more sense of where we were going. But it's all random happen chance. And it just feels fated. Like, we're not kidding. Like, nothing is prepared. There's a baseline structure of what happens with certain decisions, but it's not the story, it's just the mechanics. So for us, we have zero idea where the story's going to go. And all of my best memories are of things just somehow working out. Random happen chance, the role here, the audience there, and it just works. Yeah.
The way that I describe it to people, especially because of the roll of the die, because we have these when we're in sequences where we need die rolled in order to make a decision or advance something, we have these dice cameras on stage, and so we project like the actual rolling of the die, because everything we do is legit. Everything is about like authenticity of on stage. Like everything we do in the story is truthful. Like nothing we do is faked whatsoever. Like it's all just going to be like whatever happens that night. And when someone, especially at a critical story moment, rolls a 20 to save the thing that's going on right now, it's like a touchdown at a Super Bowl. I mean, the audience reaction is that loud and crazy environment, and you just have never seen anything like it or felt or experienced anything like it in live theater, like the roll of a 20. Right, and it's incredible when you have 1,000 people screaming at once at this moment of surprise. It's really something else. So, sorry, Devora, please.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely, it is. You feel like a rock star. Which is pretty cool. Which is pretty cool. My favorite funny moments are probably not any I can really mention here. But if you know, and they did happen on stage. I just don't really want to repeat them because I don't know who's in the audience. However, similar to Aabria, when I had my initial meeting with David, David was like, you have to. There's a few lines that you have to remember. I was like, David, come on, I'm an actor. No, I'm not. It turns out that the hardest thing of the whole bloody show was, it's your choice.
Oh my God!
Oh my God!
What is wrong with people? Like, it was I think
Jesus.
It was a moment. It's your choice.
It's your
Why can't we
choice.
do it?
I got that
It was
note
like,
from stage
the
management
choice
so
is
much.
yours.
So like,
Like,
the
no,
choice is
yeah.
yours.
It's your choice.
The decision.
Why not choose?
The decision is yours. No, and they at one point I
It's
thought
your choice question.
This was during the rehearsal. I thought everyone, because they were like, no, and I was like, no, you guys are taking the piss out of me. This is the line. They're like, no, it's your choice. And I was like, the choice is yours. No, it took me a while to get that. It's embarrassing, really. It's embarrassing. And as far as fan interactions, I mean, for me, it was just cool seeing people that we'd met at conventions turning up to see the show and having that like through line of people that, you know, had seen us here and had heard us in Baldur's Gate and, you know, interacted with us that way, and then seeing us be very unhinged and very different in the 20-sided tavern. So, yeah.
Yeah, Dev, you and I are so fucking calm normally.
So calm.
So calm, not chaotic at all.
So calm.
So see a whole other side of us.
Casey, do you have a favorite?
A favorite.
A moment or something about the show that
Something
is your
you like
favorite.
about us.
Something, not them. Anything but them.
I've never actually gotten to see any of you do it. So
Casey is based out here when the show was
Yeah.
running in New York. So, like, unfortunately, I could not fly Casey back every single time we had someone
that
in
would
the
have been
show.
nice.
It was off Broadway.
I do. I mean, I love when they use the decider. That's really
Yeah.
cool. I love when people throw it too hard and I feel worried. Yeah, I mean, but the thrill of the Nat 20, like, that is big, and, like, it feels like the roar of a sporting event, but then with narrative significance, and that
Yeah.
really is unique.
Yeah.
You don't get that anywhere else.
Yeah,
So,
no,
I like
totally.
when that
Except in
happens.
sports. Because this is the
But
jock in
then-
me is losing my mind. Like, yeah.
But
that's how
narrative
sports are.
significance, it's a story.
I would argue that a touchdown is narratively significant to this sports story that's happening.
That's-
I
So
get what you're saying. I'm just
those of you who went
It's
by
fair,
the
it's fair.
booth today,
A
you
different kind of
had
narrative.
what we call you rolled the mini decider, right? We actually have one that is twice as large that we use on stage. That is an absolutely beautiful design that Casey did.
Thank you.
And they are holding up great right now. We're having no problems with them. They're doing great right now.
Yeah, you saw it in the trailer. There's like a close-up of the die in the beginning. Yeah.
I will say one of my favorite thing, and I'm sorry, I'm not playing favorites, but early when Aabria came in to do the show, she and like we were just kind of like still figuring out a little bit, like we were doing a new version of the show, and we were still figuring a few things out, and we were a little shaky on going out of the boundaries, and Aabria, before the show started, or during the quick change that happens when they do character choice, jumped in the shower and then walked on stage soaking wet. And everybody on stage was like, oh my God, what just happened? And we were talking afterwards, and it was like, guys, this was a reminder that there are no rules to what we're doing whatsoever. Like,
And there are no wrong answers.
Right, and there are no wrong answers.
I disagree. That was a wrong answer. Now, okay, you're gonna get
You're
really
like
mad.
so wet.
I was soaking wet.
What about your mic? The
We covered the
costumes.
mic.
Oh my God.
We covered everything. I was Ethel, so it's all of the like stuff that doesn't appear wet. So the funny part was no one in the audience knew I was soaking wet. They just watched everyone on stage hate interacting with me physically. It was the funniest thing ever because my hair doesn't look wet when it's wet. Like, this was just she looks so normal, and then everyone had to touch her and then made the worst face.
So they were all discovering on stage silently that you were wet.
Yes.
Oh my God, it was
dear.
amazing.
Because it was a dumb bit between me and the person that normally played magic, and I was like, I'm just gonna run to the back, Jazz, help me. And then ran out, and everyone's like, what's going? Why did I hate touching you? And I was like, it's all over. And they're like, please get away from me. I'm like, no, let's do a romance arc. And no one wanted it.
Unfortunately, over the course of a year and a half, we have now because they're all mic'd on stage, we have a very strict rule that they're not allowed to spit water on each other anymore, because that's sometimes
was a
how far they would
problem.
break down.
Also, we're not allowed to squirt ranch on stage anymore.
Yeah, you can't do that either. That got banned.
The get ranch. I know. See the disappointment, David.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to get ranch.
Those mics are
Yeah,
expensive.
you got the ranch rule. I'm the responsible for the no water rule.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't just that.
We
There were
gotta
other
catch up,
things.
Neil. We
I was
haven't
bad.
done anything wrong.
We have about. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just want to say, because I realized I didn't talk about one of my favorite things. One of my favorite things is that every so often we will have a romance arc in the show, and what I love so much about them is watching how invested the audience gets in those romance. They get so invested, everybody loves love.
I kissed
and
Will.
I love that. Well, look at you. So did I.
The entire internet saw that.
Yeah, we got dead.
Will still talks about it. Okay, so we have about 10 minutes left. I would, if there are questions, because obviously these guys can talk forever. Does anyone in the audience, do you guys have any questions for us about this? Yeah, right there in the back. Oh, there's a mic. There's a mic right here. Yeah, come up. There's a mic right here if you want to ask your question.
You guys can make a little line if you want to do the line thing.
Hello. Oh, nice.
There we go.
It's on. Hi, everyone. Hi. I have a question about. I'm going to be DMing my first campaign. Yeah. Well.
Show them no mercy, ask for no quarter.
Oh yeah. It's the Descending to Avernus, and yeah. I know. I'm adding things to it. Yes, and so it's gonna be like a new plot, and from my perspective, adding like Baldur's Gate stuff, make it make sense. So my question is, since I'm making this new plot, and I'm wondering if all of y'all that played D&D and the DM before, for any advice for me to have my players engaged to bring out that part of them that also want to create and participate in the story, because I really want us to write the story together. I think that's like the awesome part. Yeah.
I'll kick this one off. One, excellent pick of a module, and I'm very excited for what the actual like Baldur's Gate cast wants to like jump in and add to that. The easiest like shortcut quick thing to pick up is asking a player in a moment where you want to like trigger that like RP sense of asking them what they feel in a moment, where you've given like a big scenario, something big has happened to the group. Isolate one person and go, what do you feel about what's happening right now? And then you can play the game of piggybacking. If you see someone at the table is having like a very invested reaction, getting that like little peek inside of their brain. The cool thing about being a DM is that you play the rest of the world, but you also help them play their character a little bit too. So being that like little, sometimes intrusive thought inside of their head that can spin them into a reaction so they can have a big RP moment is so easy and so fun.
Like a certain devil.
Look, we don't have to say it, but yeah, that's exactly it, and it's so fun.
I'm a Raphael. I have a Raphael brain rot in me, so yeah.
Awesome.
Everything Aabria said. So actually, I got to DM again because myself and Dev are doing a podcast called Dungeons and Dragons Dramas, which is a
Yay!
D3. So the great thing about that is it's a comedy improv show, and it's very based in the It's really funny. Yeah.
It's very funny.
It's very funny. Thank you very much.
We're very funny people.
Very funny. What I was going to say is that the best part of role play for a DM is not only, as Aabria says, inspiring, checking in with your players and inspiring them. It's also reacting. It's also, okay, it's the yes and. It's like, cool. So my big thing is never let the rules get in the way of a good story.
Right.
If you need to bend them, break them, change them to assist in what could be an awesome moment that you're seeing spread out in front of you, do that. Don't be afraid. It's always fun to get a rules lawyer and then screw with them a little bit. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's really funny to do that.
Awesome.
And allow yourself to be delighted by their choices,
Yes,
no matter
absolutely.
how
No matter
not
batshit
according to
crazy
plan
they are.
things are going. Allow yourself to be delighted by them, because it's way more fun.
Yeah. So that's it. So ultimately, the story and the good time is the thing. If you have to change something on the fly, great, fantastic. You never know what will happen. We've had the most craziest moments happen in our thing as well, which came out of somebody. We had a dog go like during one of the moments of the podcast, because Tom's got a dog, and it changed the whole course of an episode that is about to come out for the better. Without that, it wouldn't have been as fun. So, and the same thing happens on 20-sided Tavern. We've had moments of just random stuff happening, like a near accident or something like that, that turned into a bit and turned into a funny moment. And I got ill. I got really ill. I had that severe flu, and I got sick for 4 days. When I came back, I was still pretty screwed up, but my voice became a lot huskier. And so there was little things like that. We played on those ideas. We played on things like that because that's the point. It's supposed to be exciting and fun, and you don't know what's going to happen. Does that make sense?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
for
Thank
the
you.
answer.
Good luck. Kill them all.
Okay. Hello. Question. So when you guys play the same character, do you act the same, or do you always put a different spin on your character every time you play them?
There are certain touchstones that I keep to, usually the voice is pretty much the same for me for each of the characters I play, but sometimes I'll just try to find one thing that is a new touchstone to grab onto for each show. Like maybe this particular time this character is obsessed with this one thing, or this character is planning on this one thing, and working that in together with the other actors as well is part of the fun of it. Is finding that what is the game of the story in the middle of it.
Yeah, I like to mess with their morality as well. Are they going to be good this time, or are they not going to be good? I remember when Zvezda had an evil twin. Played by Connor.
I love giving Zvezda like a little corruption arc. That is my jam.
So I think that's always fun. You can really, it doesn't have to be the same. I think that's the beauty of it. I think it's more fun if it's not necessarily exactly the same, like Anjali said. So yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, I just wanted to start off by saying that you guys are all really amazing storytellers, and so it's really cool to see you guys all together on this stage. But my question is for Casey. I'm interested in character and costume design, and so I was wondering how you design costumes, like you said, with toys for the actors to play with, without it feeling cluttered and just covered in random detail.
Oh, that's interesting. I think it's important, to know what industry you're working in. So film design and theater costume design is so different. So for theater, it's if you really think about the core shapes and the silhouette and making sure that those feel really specifically composed and streamlined, and make your big shapes be well organized and make sense. Ethel is pretty much just a big blue rectangle that we can, with a fuzzy white on top. It's okay, we can discern and comprehend that from a distance, and then little details will just enhance that. So I guess starting big and then going small is how I'd approach that.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm a big Dimension 20 fan, so my question is going to be a little bit about that, but so you guys can answer this too. But for you three especially, what's it like, especially when Dimension 20 has a different premise every time, playing something that does have a similar storyline every time, or something you take from doing something so repetitive and then take into doing that, or vice versa?
That's a really good question. On said it. I'm going to cite my sources. I think my favorite crossover in the Venn diagram is the fact that it does feel quite often like black box, improv, in the way that Dimension 20, everyone in there is an absolute killer of long form improvisation. So there is that okay, I understand that we are walking through the broader strokes of a generic, or not generic, but a standard baseline for a D&D one shot. But in the same way that D20, we build all of our seasons, so it's what we're doing here. The premise is a thing you can call out from the beginning. Misfits in Magic is who are the worst people to go to a magical school. And we're gonna walk through the broad strokes of that. Who? Never heard. Don't know them. Don't know who that author is. No idea. Fuck turfs. But all of that... But all of that to say, once we know the broad strokes of you're going to be walking a bunch of little misfits through a magical school, now you get to play in the bright work of what all the things that are different, and that's the same thing that we do on stage here. We know the broad strokes of we're going on a fetch quest. We got to go do a thing to save the world. All of the fun comes from the bright work of all the ways it goes wrong and all the way that the dice affects the story and the audience affects the story and the characters affect the world and are affected by it.
Also, one of my favorite moments ever is when you and Brendan made the Nazi wizards in Misfits in Magic. So
you see the Nazi wizards over there? They love my shit. Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Yay, thank you.
Hi.
You look so good.
Thank you so much. I feel so messy. So obviously there's kind of a spectrum between traditional role play and improv, where you get to make your character and their choices, and acting where you don't get to make the character or the choices, and you have to figure out how to intercede that. Do you feel that this is kind of in a golden spot, or you have to mix the skills, and what do you love or hate about it? Do you feel like you have to mix your skills, and what do you love or hate about that?
I feel like it's the same set of skills because it's all about commitment to the story and commitment to whatever the character is. The only difference is, are you working with someone else with a script that they wrote to figure out what your thought process is and what the emotional journey is, or are those two people you? And if you have both of those, I find it really enjoyable to be in a situation where both of those people are inside me, because I do have to use both of those different like technical sets of skills, but ultimately I also always know that they're going to be in agreement with each other because they're the same person. And sometimes when I'm working with someone else, and it's not because one person is right and one person is wrong, but sometimes it's harder to really get on the same proverbial page, both literally and figuratively, with someone when you're trying to create a story with an existing script, but you also are coming in with your ideas and your feelings about the character. So this one I feel like it's very aligned and very fun to put those two together. So I enjoy it tremendously.
All right, one last question.
Hi. You came from New York big theater to creating an interactive theater. What was like that transition like, and like how did you like take what you learned from there into like making it more interactive and like and mixing all of those elements together?
So it's been a journey, right, for the last roughly 10 years. There's several kind of things happened at in various order over in the beginning, which was I started becoming really disillusioned with Broadway, like specifically because like that was my like career path. And that's where I was going, and becoming a lead producer on Broadway was what I'd done for 20 years. And somewhere along the way, the magic of that like started to fade as I got deeper within the industry. I'm very fortunate as a producer that I have a bunch of skill sets in terms of business and also financing, raising money. That is important when you're building something like this. But then outside of work, I'm a gamer, and I've always been a huge gamer. I love all types of games. Board game, like I bought a Nintendo Switch yesterday, the 2 yesterday. I shouldn't have spent the money, but I did it. But like I love video games. I love board games, and I do it. And there was a moment that I don't have time to tell of when I saw the ability to put what I love, which is live theater and live entertainment, together with gaming. And it was the inspiration of my tech company, Gamiotics, and saying, well, why can't I put these two things I love together and just do that? And that was, about 8 years ago when I really started on that, really started on that journey. And that was part of it, which is there is a little bit of like do what you love in that. But I built a skill set up for about 20 years, roughly 20 years before that has then allowed me to then pursue this and say, well, why can't we do gaming and live entertainment and live stage entertainment all at the same time, right? And so I just did it, right? And no one stopped me, and I should have been stopped many times along the way, but no one stopped me. So thank you. Yeah, I can talk more about this afterwards if you want to hear more. All right, so thank you all so much. We have to wrap up, but we're going to wrap up on some news, which is I'm so excited about this. So we're coming to LA with a tour. We're going to be at the Ricardo Montalban Theater November 25th through January 4th. Tickets can be you can get through BroadwayandHollywood.com. And I'm here, and you are the very first people to hear what our the announcement for our guest stars coming in to the tour. So that's what we're doing here tonight. This doesn't break until we don't release this until Monday. So I'm really excited to tell you like who's going to be lined up for doing the show. So first up, Jack the Whipper is coming in for a week. Yeah, I love Jack. He's so fun. He's currently doing the show in Chicago right now, and he's going to be coming back for November 24th, November 30th. I don't know if you've ever heard of this person, but December 2nd to
I'm just finding out about it now.
What a shock!
We never knew.
No.
And then granted, I'm excited about all of this. What this next one is going to be wild. The two of them on stage together.
It's so
We're
dangerous.
going over again.
Exactly. And speaking of wild, I'm very excited that Deborah's coming back to the show. We're really, really excited. It's going to be amazing.
Can't wait.
And then to round it out for us, December 3rd, January 4th, Anjali.
Am I allowed to just show up when Anja's on stage? You can't stop me, right?
We can talk about it.
Okay.
We're talking about a three. I almost said a threesome, but I'm gonna say it. No. But also New Year's Eve, yay!
If you stop by the booth this weekend, I think Broadway in Hollywood has a special ticket offer that's just available for this weekend. Come see it. Come see all of these fabulous people. I promise you, that will be the dirtiest show. Well, no, I don't know which one's going to be. Right? You never know. But these guys are they're all phenomenal in the show, and we can't wait to have them back. So thank you all. And thank you all for being here today for this film. And thank all my wonderful, wonderful friends who showed up today to do this with us. So thank you. Come see us.
Notice on here I'm not DMing.
No, you are not.
That's
You're not,
messed up.
you're not allowed to DM anymore.
It's rude.
No.
Maybe I'll do it anyway. You'll have to show up and find out.